All right. What I'm going to do is start meshing John. So this is 10a, and it's just going to be about editing uh, the text in John. But if I get a little bit farther, and I will get right into um, putting this text into the next of the other three books. So here you can see the major point here, and this one is that I've went and put this verse together. So, and then I changed the word from comprehend to recognize. I'm doing that, like I said, for those on 12 years old or whatever, when they're reading, they can understand the text easier. This is not really needed in the text anymore because we know who John is when we start reading the rest of it. I'm getting rid of that, getting rid of those words. And you can see I've got them already subdivided, and here I'm putting these verses together here. And I don't know why, but the two have went together to make this verse. Here, none of that text is needed as well. This here looks okay. This first part, and yes, I'm changing the word stay to teach. Where will you stay? It's not so much that, it's but where will you teach, because he's out traveling. So where will you stay? They would have known because they were with him. They were following him. So the word stay is just a stupid word. Here I'm changing to make it more personal from the Lake Galley to what tribe's land he was. Okay. Now, this here text I'm adding, and I don't feel I need to make that gray. Philip knew Nathaniel. Well, Philip's friend is Nathaniel, so that's better than just knew. These verses here are going to be thrown out, and this is Jesus changing the water to wine at a wedding. Well, absolutely doesn't make any sense because there's no way to stick this into the other stories to say where it was. This has the story really isn't important, so it's not like there's a teaching from there. So since it doesn't have a teaching aspect to it, I'm just getting rid of this text. Okay, this is the verse, and what I've done is I've changed it to this. Okay, these I'm using from right here, but the disciples came to the region Judah. Okay, I had it. Oh no, I'm changing it from this sentence here to this sentence here. Okay. Let me make sure I just make this 8 point. So well, it's something smaller just to show that I'm using this other verse here as being written this way. In other words, when it said into the region Judah, that isn't correct at this time. He was baptizing by this place here, and I will have a map here when I get to that area so you can see that in the final text. Here again, just putting it West Manasseh instead of Israel. And passed through the hill country by the highway. I've tried to explain this highway as the major road that goes down through Israel because all the rivers were like this, and there's a main road that people have been traveling probably 5,000 years through Israel. So, this here city, I don't have it located yet on the map, but moved into. So what I've done is, okay, I've taken it from here and I moved it to here. It just reads better that the followers went there when after he sat by the well. Our forefather Israel, he was known as Israel for a long time, so it wouldn't have been that they didn't know his name was Israel. They wouldn't have been using Jacob. The word afterlife here is being added over here when I'm adding this text here. Because when she's not thirsty in my afterlife, because that's what Jesus was telling her about. So this made sense to add it here instead of people having to fill in later. It's just there and easier to comprehend and understand what I'm saying at that time, or when you're reading it at that time. I'm changing the title to creator for the simple fact that this is, they had specific uses for creator or father, and when they used the text around it. And so what I'm doing is by saying creator, this is the offering that they were supposed to take for their sins, and that was for their creator to forgive them. When it's talking about father, he is guiding them. Like the word Lord, he's Lord over many. Father, he's trying to teach the family unit, or teaching the family unit. Changing it to, wait a second, I don't think, I'm trying to wonder if I'm thinking these are supposed to be small caps. Okay, they are small caps. Okay, they just didn't look small here and down here. So just wanted to check. This, since I threw the story out, I'm not going to have it stuck in here. And I've changed the word house to home. I will try to tell you that the difference is a home is for like one family, where a house would be more or less used as having servants. It's larger. That's easy to see. This correction is easy to see, to understand. This I'm putting at the end of the text next time, but I just know that this is probably going to be taken out. Um, this is not needed. Moved of J5. So we're going to find J16. This verse gets moved. So that should be showing up, or maybe I missed it already, but you can do the search for it in the PDF. Now this I had to put as a location. It seems like they took this location out because Jesus is starting to, um, he's leaving Jerusalem because the Passover celebration is done, and this is the beginning of his first year of his teaching, or the only year of his teaching, and he's heading back home. So I made the story that he went to Bethel, and like I said, that's along the highway. So let me see if I can do this. There's this road this that kind of goes all the way down through here, and then but you can see like because you can't pass these rivers. These rivers are on these sides. So this is what I'm saying is that they travel down the center, or pretty much. Oops, here's a better one here. That's actually the river that they brought the, what am I trying to say? The lumber up from, to build the house for our Creator. But see these rivers down here? So this path that I've got here, they had to stay close to a water source to be able to eat or whatever. So the thing here is Sinai's starting to get in down here, and Sinai is majorly or majority desert. So this is what the highway is, or what I've tried to make sure. And then, oh, that's what I was getting at. This Bethel was a major city when he came out. So that's why I've got this, because when you do the study or watch what I do in the Hebrew side of the text, Bethel is actually located here. I don't have it as a dot here, but it should have been a dot right here on this crossroad. So this would have been the path that he's taking home, but that was the first capital of Israel, and then Samaria up here was the second capital city for the nation Israel. They don't know his voice. Nobody actually hears just Jesus' voice, but they trust his voice. So I'm using the word trust. It's a better fit word. Now I'm moving this verse, I think here at this time, but then I move it back in the next video. So here I placed it here from down here underneath. I just moved it up one verse. I'm going to move this text later. That's a note for the next video. I moved it here above. This I'm moving down somewhere later to 10. Oh, yep, it's got to be down yet. This story here is about Mary and Martha, which counters the other story of the text. So the other one is more important than this one here, because this is before he actually has disciples. So this word would be false here, but all this text is just not true. These must be the verses that I'm moving around. Moved under this Oh, that's, yeah, I moved that, so that's smaller text, so that's been moved. And the other notice was that I moved them here. So it moved here under 17. Got rid of it. I just brought it up here to show that it belongs here, but I've removed it. Or I moved it once, and then I guess I can get rid of it now. That just seems to be text that's already, well, wherever it was in the last video, because these are John. Okay, okay, I better not, because this is text within John. I'm thinking that I'm already on the next step here, so moving verses around inside John here. Now this is a note for me later. I might be adding something to put here because the question is not being answered here. This I'm going to probably take out because when this gets meshed together with the other text, you have to understand that people are going to be dying and they're still going to go to the abyss. They need to have a place to go other than heaven, the ones that he's rejecting while man is living on earth, just not needed. Okay, now this is the text of the helper, and that's going to be from here all the way down to here. And then what I'm doing is I'm meshing these verses around it, or meshing these up into the text above. But the thing here is this is all going to be re-edited up in here. And it is mankind that loves their own. And I'm adding, I chose you. I don't think that's needed to be gray. Didn't need this verse. It's already being pretty much mentioned. And here I'm using the word or the title Father here. Can I see that relating to Jesus telling us he's our Father? I could have used the word Lord, but I thought the title Father was a better fit. It's a close one to decide. Adding the highest priest, because there was priests at different times, and so when I'm thinking that they're closer to Jerusalem, then these are the high priest and then the highest priest there. So I'm using the difference between a priest and a, say, tribe's priest. And that's going to get changed later. I know it is. I moved this group here. I don't know where it's at yet, but I moved it up. Here's where I took it from and moved it up. When I'm rereading the story and I cleaned up the text from all the other editing, and then this text is pretty much just smoothing out to make sense of it, hooking together or connecting. And then I was finding verses like those that just didn't sound right when I read them. And I thought that these were better, or I'm pretty sure I know that these are better places for these words. And these here aren't needed either. This doesn't need to be said. When he said his body was finished, he was done. I mean, his body died. And this is going to be moved because it's a single verse. That's going to be at the very end, like I showed you the extras. So that's John right there, but now I'm going to get into the meshing part of John, and that will be here with this text. Let me get rid of this. Oops. Yep. Okay, now this is the text I'm going to be meshing. So these groups are going to be as is, just leave it there. I went over that editing. And yeah, I remember saying this. And when you put the story as is in the order, because this is about the beginning, I'm putting these verses at the beginning. So, who rejects Jesus and does not believe his teaching? Well, the thing here is we know that's part of the story, but the object is I'm thinking that because what happens to them after they die, they have to go to the abyss if they don't believe Jesus. So the thing here is um, it's just not needed when you start seeing it put into the text here. Now, I can't remember the last time I went through all these editings, so you're going to probably have to check them on your own. I didn't see that as a big change. This note is going to be, because here it's 5 months, and I don't want people to think that when they're reading it that the time span that they had did not have 30 days. I can't recall if they had 5 7-day week or days, but 7 days, and they only counted them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They didn't have names for them, but like the secular world now has them named after pagan gods. But I do believe there was like five of these weeks in their 1 month. So when she kept it to herself, usually in the 4th month, a woman starts showing that she's pregnant. So I have to make sure that the text makes sense even back then. So, and here again, this note will be to change this. Now, I'm just adding this as a reader's note, but I need to have this here because some people might not know who Aaron is. So I have to put in these texts, and that's more or less a reminder of who Aaron is. Because all the tribes were actually named after the sons of Israel. But at the time when they were coming out, the elder that ruled over all the tribe for Levite at the time in the Sinai, our Creator chose that tribe to become priests. And at that time, Aaron was chosen as the high priest at the time. But they still are all Levites. So, yeah, I've got some of this is a reminder for me to see if I can find text as I go through the Hebrew text. But like got notes here at the very beginning that if you need a map stuck in someplace or anything like that, or I missed something, or you went through and checked, didn't put a verse in, I have a way for you to get attention to me in the description box below or the comment section in below, but follow the instructions that are above. So I'm going to draw my attention to them. I'm adding the word vegetables. Right now, I've added other words. I switched this word around. That's the only reason why I did that. But the object is that our creator defined what food they could eat was clean, and what wasn't clean, he called them unclean. And these are all the clean things, all the clean edibles. Okay, and there's rules for insects and locusts. So, yep, that was it about last time. Pretty much described this, everything there. Yes, all this editing has been done. I'm not sure hill over there. I think that might be added this time. But, and you can see that I've left, see, and these all should have been, oh, these are all John's verses being shoved in. So here, oh, this is the first tag. I was going to say, how come these are showing up? Well, it's the first time that I want to start putting text, and that would be from here, moving it up into these verses here. So I don't know if I'm going to start right from here and show more of this editing being meshed, but maybe this is the first one I've had to mesh. Everything else might be as is. So, and this you're going to have to check to see if I've added anything. I don't think anything's difficult here to see. There would be in editing. Yeah, because these are as is. And remember, these were moved around inside John. And this is just reordering the order of who's a higher echelon of power or leadership. I just wanted to make sure that all the text was following that. This as is. Okay, these are going to be meshed below, and these here are going to be meshed below. And so is this one. So I did find a place for this one verse, which I thought was going to be added at the end. But when I'm meshing them here, you can see that the gray highlighted is the verses that are being added. So it's easier for you to follow that way and seeing the ones that I'm not needing. Just getting rid of, there's other verses that are better. I'm thinking ex-wife is listed here, and that's because that's what it has to be, as his ex-wife and her brothers or his brother is still alive, which makes it the reason why John was calling him out that it's not lawful for him to be doing that. I've had to add the place here because when I'm looking at the story where I'm putting it in, this popped up. So these edits here, I'm pretty sure all new. Not a few, I just made it a couple more truthful. And these I don't think are that much difficult. this, yes, because the story is getting closer to being figured out. So, in the next version, I'm going to start putting in the maps, start putting in anything I can see, or think of what's going on, but it's going to get more into the book form. But I still have to read it a couple more times, because if there's any more editing in the next text, that's going in the next one. In fact, I've had to reread it, I think, 4 times. And then I took the new edits that I had and put them into this one here, um, just so when I'm reading it that I don't get lost in trying to edit the text. I'm trying to edit the words. I'm trying to make sure the stories are reading in the right place. Example, when I first had a bunch of stories that Jesus was teaching, and I have like 3 or 4 pages of him teaching. Well, I noticed that some of them didn't have a location where he was um, doing his teaching, or this came up. So I would be able to, when it goes through the days in Jerusalem, the 8 days that he's there, that when it was really short, I added a lot of text going back and forth, because when I'm putting it together, like you see here, it was just trying to get the story correct, and the words in that story correct. But sometimes when I change things by adding the next story in, that it was telling me that it can't be here, it has to be a different place. Okay, this is just as is, so this one had carried over. This seems to be things that I added here into the text. So you have to check this editing, or this is new editing, I would say. Okay, this is almost 30 minutes, but I can see that I'm going to most likely get through the next 30 minutes of just meshing this and to finish this text up. If you can see, you can't see, I'm right here in the story, and it goes all the way down to here of the text yet. So I'm going to call this video done, and then part B will be the finishing up of this.